Hello, everybody. So today, I got asked to kind of share some insight into how to juggle. Now, I should preface this by saying I'm not by any means the best juggler, and I learned to juggle by somebody by the name of Daniel. He's a friend of mine from New York. He taught me how to juggle, and in fact, I'll have some footage. I should have some footage if I can find the footage. I've got some footage of me when I was like first learning to juggle because I was really bad at it. Now I'm kind of just like acceptably bad at it instead of really bad at it. Anyway, so the first step in finding something or to juggling is finding something to juggle. And as you can see, all of my stuff is still piled in a mess because stuff hasn't changed from yesterday. And I was looking through here hoping that like my juggling balls were near the top because I don't remember where I put them. And then I found, I've got some Beanie Babies in here, and I was like, maybe I could show you guys how to juggle with these. And then I was like, nah, it's way easier if you start with something, round and easy to catch. So what I was thinking, I've got a sock here that's got a huge hole in it. And when I first started juggling, I started juggling with something that I'd made out of socks. So I'm going to show you how I made them really quick. Alright, so we take the sock. The other things that we're going to need is we're going to need scissors, some rice, some thread, and a needle. Now, this is just like my 2 cents, but you don't actually have to use rice. You could use something like beans or sand or buckwheat shells or basically anything that's like semi-dense, semi-flexible works just fine. You do want to make sure that whatever you use isn't going to like readily come through your sock. So if you use something like sand, you might consider wrapping it in plastic wrap first. The thread and needle, that's just my way of fastening the sock shut. You could use super glue, staples, tape if you didn't want it to last too long. Those might be easier. I just wanted to make something that was a little more permanent. That's why I'm using the needle and thread. It also is just nicer as far as a finished product. So what we're going to do, I like taking the toe of the sock if it's still intact, which this one is, and I'm just going to cut along just like so, just right across the sock so that you have just the tip of a sock. Now my next cut, I also usually like the heel area, but in this particular one there's already a big hole there, and I don't really feel like stitching that closed because it's worn around there, so it's more likely to pull out. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to take it out of this next little section here, which means that it's going to be a little more awkward as far as the actual sewing process, but it should be fine because there's some elastic here that I'll have to make sure is stretched out. And then we're going to end up doing actually the same thing just right up here with the stem of the sock. We're going to cut a piece. And we want these pieces to be kind of sort of the same size, just because it means that we'll then have closer to the same size with our finished product. Now we're going to thread the needle and then start sewing the edges closed. The trick to threading the needle is to just get good at it, because otherwise you spend hours and hours and hours threading the needle, and it really shouldn't take that long. So just get good at it. You're going to want enough thread to basically double the length of whatever section you're cutting. It doesn't actually require double the amount of the length. I just like doing that as a general rule of thumb because it means that I know that I've got sufficient thread extra. Then what I'll actually do is I won't tie a knot. I'll just pull it through until there's just a little tail bit here. Oh, crap. That just fell out. Let's try that again. So I just stick it through. Make sure to hold on to the little tail, and then I actually just tie like an overhand knot with that tail if it cooperates. Oh no, that's See, the thing is I'm good at threading the needle, but I'm less good at tying the knots. Ugh. And you just tie the knot like that, and then, you know, you basically just sew it closed. And then at the end, you're just going to tie a knot, however you like tying a knot. I tend to actually use my thread here to tie a knot. I kind of do like a little daisy chain knot thing that tends to hold quite well, just like that. And then I just pull on it a little bit to make sure that it's not gonna just suddenly break, and trim the excess off, just like so. Now we're gonna sew this side probably about halfway before we start putting the rice in, just because it makes life so much easier. So I should note that the reason why I'm good at rethreading the needle is because I usually let it come unthreaded like way more frequently than you really should. So now that we've got it about halfway sewn shut, we're going to put some rice in it. Now, if I had been thinking about this intelligently, I would have gotten something for making this easier, rather than just trying to like throw pinches of rice in here. Hold on, I'm gonna grab some paper. So I just roll the paper into like a little funnel, stick the funnel in the juggling ball, and then we can just drop whole handfuls of rice in there, just like so. And then you just want to make sure that it actually goes into your juggling ball rather than just sitting in the paper and not doing anything. So we're gonna, you know, shimmy that just a little bit, then shimmy it a little more, and by we now have a little bag of rice. So then we're just gonna finish sewing that closed. This is also the point in time where you want to make sure that it's big enough. I think I'm actually going to put just a little bit more rice in, but I am going to do this bit by hand and make a mess everywhere. And this is because this particular one is elasticy, so you see how I can like push that down and now it looks significantly more empty. I want the elastic to be slightly stretched, just because it'll make the ball have a better feel when I'm done with it. And I think that it's going to be a good size right there. So I'm going to just finish sewing that closed. So I just realized that I lost the video for the finishing bit of that, but basically just sew across the top and ta-da, you've got one. So I'm just going to do these other two really quick. One thing that I really like about sewing socks is that they're actually really easy to sew because of just how loose the fabric is. So you can actually sew these pretty quick. I mean, that first one took me probably like 5 minutes, and I've been working on this one for just a couple minutes now. I'm already almost done with it. So this actually, like, it might look a little tedious just because I'm doing it by hand and all of that, but it's actually like super easy to sew. So it's worth noting that for this last one, we already have one side done because, you know, it's the tip of the sock. It's already been sewed shut there. So we're just going to do the one side that we put rice in. So this should be pretty easy. One thing that I do want to make sure though is that I'm folding this down far enough that the resulting juggling ball is going to be the same size. which actually I think I'm going to make this a little smaller because at the moment, like, this whole thing can quite easily fit inside there. And we want them to be as close to the same size as we can get them, just because that makes our lives a lot easier when it's time to actually juggle.
Okay, so I had a bit of a problem. I ran out of storage on my camera or on my phone and I tried fixing that. It didn't work. I deleted a whole bunch of stuff off my phone. It still said the storage was full. I spent like an hour and a half trying to figure it out, and now I've got to run to work really quick. But I've got 1, 2, 3 altogether juggling balls, and tomorrow I will teach you how to juggle with them. So this video was going to be how to juggle. Now it's just how to make the juggling balls so that we can juggle tomorrow. And I have to go to work. So I will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching and all of that.